So Matt, a couple of things I wanted to talk to you today. We talked yesterday about the spike in unemployment for veterans as well as the real skyrocketing of the calls to mental health lines. So kind of tell me what you've heard through all of this and, if anybody from the FitOps Foundation has kind of commented on these things.
I think the risk for veterans now, they're isolated at home. They don't have the resources. Some of the veterans who are receiving mental health check-ins at the VA, obviously going to a hospital right now is also high risk. And so, I think we just have some challenges in front of us in terms of making sure that we identify where the highest risk areas are and find a way to help serve them. Obviously, hotlines are up, a couple 100%. We're seeing within the veteran community that FitOps runs that our vets are struggling. We're holding Zoom classes and we're talking about best practices in times like this. The good thing is that a lot of veterans are sort of prepared for adapting and overcoming situations like this. So for the most part, the veterans in our network that are engaged are healthy. We have not had any incidents since COVID started in our direct community, but I had a veteran who was applied to come to FitOps the next camp, who was a mental health advocate, pretty outspoken advocate here in New York City area. And unfortunately, he took his life about 2 weeks ago.
So what are some action items? We kind of talk about the unemployment, we talk about the mental health hotlines. If somebody's watching this story on Memorial Day, what are a couple things that they can do to possibly better their mental health? Or are there any opportunities job-wise that you know of or that FitOps is presenting?
Yeah, those are great questions. I mean, first of all, I think I'm not a mental health expert per se, but I think, family members who have veterans in their family, there are signs when you see risk coming, be watchful of it. I think, this is a time where we're all stressed and we're all trying to figure out what to do. But it's also a time where we have more space in our lives than we've ever had, and a time to invest in family and in friends and support. And so, one, if you have a veteran in your family or in your friend network, reach out and make sure they're doing okay. Two, I think the opportunity for veterans today to find gainful and new employment, like everybody, it's going to be challenging. There's unemployment is higher than in our lifetime it's ever been, and the statistics are showing that the veteran community is actually receiving the worst end of the stick, so to speak. And so, what we do at FitOps is help veterans find new purpose through the power of fitness. That could be the power of fitness in support of personal training, nutrition, coaching, and so our program is while it's a program aimed at reducing veteran suicide, it's also a vocational program where we train them to be personal trainers so they can go out and serve again, this time mentoring and coaching other folks. So our applications are open. We encourage veterans who are listening to this, or veteran family members who have someone that is looking in their family for a new career or a new job. We're taking applications still. We've got a lot, over 2,000 applications, and a lot of them come in during this time. So we're ready for them. We're building up scale to support them. But I think it's important that we all, not just the veterans who are being affected, but the family member, the communities, we all rally around this issue. It's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, and you mentioned how there was already a lot of issues or challenges that were presented even before the pandemic. What unique challenges have been presented from the COVID-19 pandemic to veterans specifically that you can think of?
Veterans are 1.5 times more likely to take their lives than average citizens. That statistic in itself prior to COVID is a real issue. And I know that it's becoming a more talked about issue, but we have to do things to get ahead of it, not just talk about it. And it's not changing a lot. We have more and more veterans who are deployed that are now back home losing their jobs. And when you lose your job, it's a step in the direction of losing purpose. And I think if we can find ways to encourage the veteran community and the community in general to get behind this during COVID, during Memorial Day, to talk about the issue, it's important to make it a topic that is continually talked about. And I think there isn't anybody in this country who doesn't want to help the situation. The other side of that, Matt, is that the veteran population doesn't want the pity of the American people. They want the appreciation and thanks for their service. And to be honest, any employers out there listening to this, I employ a lot of vets, and they're some of the hardest working, most dedicated servant leaders in my company. And so, finding a veteran is, in my opinion, lucky. A veteran to employ in your company, you would be fortunate to have their leadership skills within your business.
And from my perspective, I see FitOps, one of the main things that comes away to me is the hope that FitOps brings to the people that you bring in to train with you, teach. Where is the hope in this situation that it's not all the unemployment is here now, the mental health calls are here now, but there's got to be some sort of hope that tomorrow is coming, there's a better day on the way. I mean, is there any kind of hope that you would give to people listening?
Yeah, I mean, I speak we bring 40 to 80 veterans at a time onto camp, and I speak a lot about the specific question you're talking about, which is when times are the worst and things seem the grimmest or the bleakest. There are often times where the most growth happens, both individually and now as COVID's wrapped its arms around everybody in our country as a country. And so I think while we're all focused on how terrible and nasty this pandemic is, I do think that the silver linings of the pandemic are going to be an increased focus on family, an increased focus on self, health and wellness. And so, we are going to get out of this. We will navigate it. We're the greatest country in the world, and we overcome everything. And our military is the tip of the spear in that way. So, I think the veterans out there who are struggling, even civilians who are struggling, taking stock in what you have and being grateful for those things, and being open to the mindset of having a mindset of being a bit optimistic about the outcome from this. And sometimes it's hard to do that, but I do believe that we will learn and grow as a country through this, and we'll be better for it.
And you just got a new person on your board. If you want to talk about him and also kind of what he brings to the table now to help veterans who might be struggling during this time.
Yeah, we're really excited to announce the addition of SEAC retired John Wayne Troxell, who until about 2 months ago was the most senior enlisted member of the military, reports straight into the Chief of Staff, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and the Secretary of Defense. A career military man that gave 38 years of service to this country, was deployed, I think, five or so times. And this position specifically that he held for 4 years was not just overseeing the Army; it was overseeing all of the branches of the military, all five. And his job in that, or the objective in that position for him was troop readiness and lethality, and the ability to deploy. And part of that is understanding the pressures and challenge that the soldiers under his command have on them, and the fact that he spent so much time in service of this country, and now his exit and straight into FitOps to lead our strategic advisory board and building not just answers to the questions that we have in terms of how do we stop veteran suicide of the currently transitioned veterans, but also how do we get ahead of it and work with the DoD to put things in place that help transition them successfully, so that they don't fall down the path of loss of purpose and hopelessness, and then all of the subset issues of drugs and alcohol and homelessness and all those things that often affect the veteran community. Just like any other citizen of this country, I deeply care about the veteran community, and I implore your listeners, your viewers, to take a minute, a minute of silence in because of Memorial Day is the time to take a breath and think about the fallen who have given their lives in service of this country. And inside of that minute, think about the men and women who have served our country, who are also struggling through this. And reach out to a veteran, reach out to a veteran organization, and give. Go to fitops.org and see what we do, and get involved. It's an important thing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me so much. I've done some work with this local hockey team. They're called the Central Illinois Veteran Warriors. I think it'd be awesome to connect you guys to see if maybe any of them would want to do FitOps.
Yeah, awesome. Please do.